I just wanted to buy cat food. I woke up with a million views. It wasn't my plan, it was Lorraine's idea. She said, dance or die. My name is Dorothy, but everyone calls me Dot. I'm 74, I've got 3 grandkids, 1 cantankerous cat named Elvira, and a window unit air conditioner that sounds like it's been through 2 wars and a hurricane. I live in a little house in St. Charles, Missouri, with chipped linoleum, a front porch swing, and a dusty collection of ceramic frogs I keep meaning to donate. My best friend in the world is Lorraine. We've known each other since before the Beatles hit America. She's loud, ridiculous, wears too much perfume, and if I ever lose her, I'll go completely to pieces. It was an ordinary Tuesday when all of this nonsense started. Lorraine and I had just come out of Walmart, bags in hand, donuts for her, cat food for me. The kind with extra gravy because Elvira won't touch the dry stuff anymore, not since she turned 15 and decided she was royalty. We were crossing the parking lot, talking about nothing, probably her bunions or my latest attempt to cook lentils without them turning to paste, when we heard music. There by the cart return was a young man with a scruffy beard and a guitar, playing Jolene like it was the last song on earth. Lorraine stopped like she'd been struck by lightning. Then she looked at me with those hazel eyes and said, Dot, I swear to God, if I don't dance right now I'll die. I told her, well then we better get you dancing before the Lord takes you. And with that she started. Right there in the middle of the parking lot, twirling and flapping her arms like she was back in high school pep squad. I laughed so hard I dropped my bag of cat food. One of the cans rolled under a Ford Fusion. And then I don't know what got into me, but I joined her. I didn't think about my knees or my arthritis or the fact that I was wearing my good wig that doesn't take kindly to vigorous movement. I just danced. We both did. A teenager nearby, couldn't have been more than 15, pulled out her phone and started recording. I remember waving at her, thinking maybe it'd end up on her Instagram story and her friends would get a chuckle out of it. What I didn't know was that by the time I woke up the next morning, that video would have 3 million views. My grandson Tyler called me at 6:30 a.m. I thought someone had died. Grandma, you're famous, he shouted. Check TikTok. I told him I didn't even know what a tic-tac was. He came over with his iPad and showed me the video, me and Lorraine spinning and clapping like lunatics in front of Walmart. There were sparkles added, music remixed underneath, and a caption that read, when you and your BFF are just built different. I didn't even recognize us. But it was us. Wild, joyful, ridiculous us. By noon the phone wouldn't stop ringing. KMOV wanted an interview. Some lady from Good Morning America emailed me. And by evening the news called us the dancing grandmas of St. Charles. I thought surely this'll all blow over in a day. I didn't know it yet, but Lorraine had other plans. Big ones. I should have known something was cooking when Lorraine showed up at my front door the next day in leopard print capris and lipstick the shade of cherry cough syrup. She held up her phone like it was the Holy Grail. Dot, she said, breathless, we're going viral. And I've got an idea. Now, when Lorraine says she has an idea, it usually means something like dyeing her dog pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month or signing us up for speed dating at the community center. But this was different. We need a TikTok account, she said. Something official. Branded. I stared at her. Branded? Lorraine, I haven't even figured out how to work the Roku remote. You want me to be an influencer? She grinned like a raccoon in a dumpster. Damn right. We're at Dancing Grannies now, baby. That afternoon, with the help of Tyler and a generous amount of trial and error, we launched our account. The first video? Us trying and failing spectacularly to do the savage love dance in my kitchen. I accidentally kicked over a jar of pickles halfway through. Lorraine's wig flew off. The internet ate it up like fresh funnel cake at a county fair. Within a week, we had 200,000 followers. Our inbox filled with comments from people saying we reminded them of their grandmas, or that we gave them hope aging could be joyful. A woman from Alabama said she watched our videos every morning before chemo. A single dad in New York said we made his autistic daughter laugh for the first time in weeks. It was overwhelming in a way I didn't have words for. We started making daily videos. Grocery store escapades, dance challenges, Lorraine yelling at squirrels in her backyard. We filmed a skit where we fought over the last bottle of maple syrup at Aldi and ended up rock paper scissoring in the aisle. It hit 1 million views in 48 hours. And then the call came. Ellen. The Ellen. We were invited to fly out to Los Angeles, first class, all expenses paid, to appear on her show. Lorraine nearly fainted. I had to sit her down and bring her a glass of Metamucil. I always knew we were meant for more than bingo night. She whispered. I just want to replace my air conditioner, I replied. But a few weeks later, there we were backstage at Warner Brothers Studios, sweating through our polyester slacks, wondering how we'd gone from cat food and donuts to Hollywood. The show was a blur of lights and applause and Ellen hugging us like we were old friends. She played clips of our viral videos. The audience roared with laughter. Then she gave us each a giant check, $5,000 apiece, and said, "So what's next for the dancing grannies?" Before I could answer, Lorraine leaned into the mic and said, "Well, I've always dreamed of becoming a senior model. And Dot wants a new air conditioner. So I think we're just getting started." The audience went wild. By the time we got back to Missouri, the offers were pouring in. A young man named Trevor called us. Said he was a celebrity manager. Said he saw potential. Said he could turn us into a brand. Lorraine was all in. Merchandise. Imagine it. Mugs with our faces. Pajamas that say "Shake it like a grandma." I was hesitant. But then he mentioned a new air conditioner. Central cooling even. And well, I was sold. We signed. And just like that, our lives changed. They say fame changes you. I used to scoff at that. What could a few likes and camera flashes possibly do to a person who's already lived through Nixon, 2 recessions, and the great Jell-O salad era of the 70s? But I'll tell you this. The first time I saw my face on a box of oatmeal at Target, smiling next to Lorraine with the words, "Granny Fuel, dance into your day," something inside me shifted. I laughed out loud, sure. Took a picture and sent it to all my grandkids. But it was a weird laugh, shaky and hollow, like when you walk into a room and forget what you came for. Trevor, our manager, was a whirlwind of spray tans and buzzwords. He had that fast-talking energy that made you feel like you were already behind. "Ladies, you're a brand now," he kept saying, waving contracts in front of us like magic tricks. "We're talking podcasts, merchandise drops, a university tour. We've got interns brainstorming slogans. How do you feel about bobbleheads?" Lorraine ate it up. She loved the photo shoots, the interviews, the glamour of it all. She started wearing faux fur indoors, said it gave her air of eccentric wealth. I caught her practicing her signature in the mirror one morning before a Zoom meeting with BuzzFeed. Me? I just wanted to make people laugh. I liked our little videos, the ones where we were still in Walmart parking lots and wrangling cats, not in hotel suites wearing matching sequin jackets that made me sweat like a rotisserie chicken. We did the whole circuit. BuzzFeed flew us to New York. We filmed a Try Not to Laugh challenge with influencers half our age who kept calling us iconic. We went on a morning show in Dallas where they fed us barbecue live on air and asked us to do the Renegade dance with the local high school cheer squad. Every time the cameras turned off, Lorraine glowed brighter. I, on the other hand, felt like I was fading out at the edges. Then came the incident. It was a late-night taping in Chicago, some variety show hosted by a smug guy in suspenders with perfect teeth. The producers fed us lines and pushed us into the skit where we were supposed to make sassy grandma jokes. You know the usual back in my day, TikTok was the sound your knees made stuff. But Lorraine, she went off script. She made a joke. Something off color, just a little tone deaf. I won't repeat it because the internet certainly did enough of that. It wasn't mean, just clumsy. But Twitter didn't care. Within hours, #CancelTheGrannies was trending. People dug through old videos, twisted her words, pulled screenshots and quotes. They said we were out of touch, cringe, problematic. Someone posted a slowed-down version of our original Walmart dance, overlaid with dramatic music, as if we'd somehow betrayed the very concept of joy. The sponsors pulled out first. Then Trevor stopped answering our calls. Then Lorraine and I fought. We hadn't argued in 50 years, not since she ate the last deviled egg at my second wedding. But that night in the hotel room with the tiny soaps and overpriced minibar, she looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "I didn't mean it. You believe me, don't you?" And I said nothing. She packed up and left the next morning. And just like that, it was over. The Walmart video, the spark that started it all, disappeared from our account. Quietly. Like it had never happened. I sat in my living room, staring at the dead air conditioner. The heat swelled. The fame evaporated. I thought it was the end. But sometimes you don't realize you're not alone until someone reminds you what you meant to them. The silence after cancellation wasn't quiet. It was loud in a different way, a roar of absence. No notifications, no comments, no emails about new brand deals. Just my creaking floorboards and the wheeze of my dying air conditioner, coughing like it had the flu. Lorraine stopped answering my calls. I sat with that. Not the quiet, but the shame. The kind of shame that crawls up your back when you realize how far from yourself you've drifted, How easily the joy can be sucked out of something once it starts being packaged, monetized, expected. I went days without touching my phone. I cooked too much food and watched old VHS tapes of home videos, the ones where my husband, Henry, was still alive and the kids were little and giggling under Christmas trees. It made me ache with something I didn't know how to name. Then, one Sunday afternoon, Tyler came over. He knocked once and let himself in, like he used to when he was little, when the house still smelled like cinnamon and not dust and disappointment. "I've been thinking," he said, flopping onto the couch beside me. "You and Lorraine didn't go viral because you were trying to be famous." I sighed. "We got greedy. Or stupid. Or both." "No," he said. "You got seen." He pulled out his laptop. "I've been working on something. Just watch." I expected another flashy edit, jump cuts and dance beats and sparkles. But what I saw was something different. Honest. Raw. It was a video. A documentary-style piece, nearly 10 minutes long. He called it The Real Dancing Grannies. He'd pieced together clips from the beginning, our first video, unedited. The laughter. The donut bag tearing Lorraine's wig askew, me nearly slipping on cat food cans. He added footage we never posted, us in the kitchen, bickering over how to set up the tripod. Footage of Lorraine fixing my hair before interviews, me squeezing her hand backstage, our quiet conversations on tour buses where we wondered if anyone still saw us beyond the sequence. Tyler even interviewed us separately. Lorraine, somewhere in her apartment, voice trembling as she said, "We didn't mean to become something big. We just wanted to feel alive again." And me, sitting right there on my sun-faded couch, saying softly it was never about fame. It was about finding joy and sharing it. The final shot was the two of us, dancing outside Walmart, the light golden and dusty. Tyler had slowed it down, no music, just our laughter echoing. I didn't know I was crying until he handed me a tissue. "I posted it an hour ago," he said, grinning. "It already has 100,000 views. By morning it had over 1 million. The comments flooded in. This is what the internet should be. I miss my grandma. Thank you for reminding me to call her. Please come back. The world needs you." Lorraine called that night. Neither of us said anything for a while. Just silence, warm this time, not angry. Then she whispered, "I miss dancing with you." I swallowed the lump in my throat. "I miss everything with you." That week we met at the Walmart parking lot. Same spot. Same cart return. Same guitarist, believe it or not he'd gone viral too, got a record deal out of it. We danced again. Not for cameras. Just for us. But Tyler filmed it anyway with our permission this time. He helped us post it with a new caption. "It's never too late to go viral again." We didn't return to the world like queens making a comeback. We returned like women who had cracked something inside and patched it up with duct tape and stubborn joy. Lorraine showed up to my house the morning we left wearing oversized sunglasses and a t-shirt that read, "Blessed, Stressed, and Dance-Obsessed." I wore a visor with sequins, not because I wanted to, but because she'd insisted and I figured I owed her at least that. The van pulled up just before dawn. It was a 2004 Ford E-Series that Tyler found on Facebook Marketplace for $2,000 and a hug. Spray painted in bubblegum pink across the side were the words, "Granny's on the go." The G was crooked, the O was shaped like a donut, and one of the doors creaked like a horror movie sound effect, but it was ours. Real. Slightly ridiculous. Perfect. "I can't believe we're doing this," I said, tossing in a cooler full of lemon bars and Diet Coke. Lorraine laughed. "I've lived 75 years and never once saw the Grand Canyon. We've got a van, a playlist, and arthritis meds. Let's make history." We plotted our tour like a treasure map. Small towns. Local fairs. Nursing homes. College campuses. Any place that needed a little dancing and a lot of heart. Tyler came too, our driver, cameraman, and occasionally our therapist when the heat made us cranky. The first stop was Peoria, Illinois. A local farmer's market. We danced between melon stands and booths selling handmade soap. By the second chorus of Good as Hell, someone was filming. Again. Always someone filming. Each town gave us something. In Evansville, we met a widow who said we made her want to start dating again. In Tulsa, a 12-year-old girl with cerebral palsy danced with us in her wheelchair. I cried the whole way back to the hotel. In Albuquerque, Lorraine twisted her ankle doing the Tuesday slide, but insisted on finishing the routine, holding onto a traffic cone for balance like a battle-worn ballerina. Tyler edited nightly, uploading our escapades to TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. We stopped using filters. No more fancy edits or skits. Just us laughing, dancing, stumbling sometimes, but always real. The comments changed. They weren't just LOL grandma goals anymore. They were things like, "My mom is in hospice. We watch your videos together. I'm 63. You made me believe it's not too late. I thought I was invisible until I saw you too." Somewhere outside Amarillo, we pulled over to take pictures with a herd of metal cows. Lorraine climbed on one and nearly got stuck. I laughed so hard I nearly peed. And as I leaned against the van, watching the sun stretch over the endless plain, I realized I wasn't chasing a second act. I was living it. We weren't internet famous anymore. We were alive. Not because of the views. Not because of the press. But because, somewhere along the way, we gave people permission to feel joyful. Silly. Seen. And maybe, just maybe, we gave ourselves that same permission. The sun was setting behind the broken spine of the desert when we hit Route 66. Not the touristy part. Not the cleaned-up gas station signs or Instagrammable diners. No, we were on the forgotten stretch, the part with crumbling pavement and rusted fence posts, where the land seemed to hold its breath. Lorraine had her feet up on the dashboard, her toenails painted, tropical punch, singing along to Lizzo like she was 30 years younger and on her way to a beach party. Tyler was asleep in the back, a baseball cap over his face, his camera resting on his chest like it was part of him now. I was driving, windows down, wind in my thinning hair, my heart so full I thought it might burst. "I feel 17, Lorraine said over the music. I chuckled. "You sound like you're drunk on freedom and Benghazi." She grinned, teeth flashing in the golden light. "Don't ruin it." We had 3 more cities left on our little tour, Flagstaff, Sedona, and then LA. Not for Ellen this time, but for us. For closure. For the full circle moment. Maybe just to stand on the beach and scream into the Pacific like wild women who'd seen too much and made it anyway. But that day on Route 66, that was ours. We pulled into a ghost town around dusk, one of those places with a few boarded-up buildings, a rusty swing set, and a sign so faded you could barely read it. Lorraine insisted we get out and dance. "No audience," she said. "No likes. Just us." So we did. We played Lizzo through the van speakers, cranked it until the desert echoed, and danced in the dirt like we were trying to shake loose every regret we'd ever carried. I felt my knees protest. My hips ached. My back pulled in the wrong direction. But God, it was beautiful. No one filmed it. Not even Tyler. That moment wasn't for the world. It was for the 2 girls we used to be, who thought life ended at 65. Who thought joy had an expiration date. Back in the van, we passed a thermos of sweet tea between us like teenagers sneaking liquor. Lorraine rested her head on my shoulder and whispered, "I'm scared this won't last." I swallowed the lump in my throat. Maybe it won't. But look at us now. Look at what we made out of nothing. She nodded. "Do you think people will remember us? When the likes stop coming?" I thought about that. The digital tide could turn again. The algorithm could forget us. But memories? Real ones? They don't fade so easily. They'll remember how we made them feel, I said. And if they don't, we will. That's enough. The headlights cut through the dark as we drove on, the sky turning from fire to velvet. Tyler snored softly in the back. Lizzo played low on the speakers, her voice like a heartbeat, steady and sure. We didn't talk much after that. We didn't need to. The road stretched ahead like a promise. And we, 2 stubborn, dancing grannies with tired joints and full hearts, followed it, laughing, loving, free. Los Angeles greeted us like a memory we weren't sure was ours, shiny, sprawling, loud. Palm trees swayed like they were waving sarcastically. The billboards changed every mile, flashing with faces we didn't recognize anymore. But this time it wasn't for Ellen. There were no green room snack trays or stylists with names like Sky and Jet. This time we had parked the grannies on the Go van on Venice Beach between a guy juggling flaming batons and a woman selling crystal-infused tea. And it felt perfect. Lorraine stepped out in a wide-brimmed hat that made her look like a Southern belle on vacation in space. I had on a floral button-up and orthopedic sandals. My knees were swollen from dancing through Arizona, but I didn't care. The ocean roared in front of us, endless and unbothered. We filmed our last official video there. Tyler held the camera as we danced barefoot in the sand to About Damn Time. People stopped to watch. Some cheered. A little girl in a mermaid swimsuit ran over and joined us, spinning in dizzy circles. I caught Lorraine's eye mid-spin and she looked peaceful. Lighter than I'd ever seen her. That night, we stayed in a little motel off Sunset Boulevard. Neon buzzed outside our window. Lorraine lay on one bed with a face mask that smelled like cucumbers. I sat on the other, flipping through comments on our latest post. You've carried me through my darkest days. My mom passed last week. Watching you dance made me feel close to her again. Never stop. Please. Never stop. I read them aloud until my voice cracked. You know what? Lorraine said, pulling off her mask. Maybe we don't need the brands. The contracts. The managers. I raised an eyebrow. This from the woman who tried to trademark Granulicious. She chuckled. I was high on fame and magnesium supplements. I'm sober now. There was a long silence between us. Not the awkward kind. The kind that only happens between people who have shared too much life to need small talk. You ever wonder what would have happened if that girl hadn't filmed us? I asked. All the time, Lorraine said softly. But I think we still would have danced. That's the part people never understood. We danced before the views. We'll dance long after. She rolled over, facing the wall. You think we're done? I didn't answer right away. Outside, a siren wailed. The city didn't sleep, and maybe we weren't supposed to either. No, I said. I think we're just changing the song. The next morning, Tyler surprised us with something. He had uploaded a full-length documentary to YouTube, Granny's on the Go, the story of Dot and Lorraine. It was everything. Our first dance. The cancellation. The comeback. The tour. Us laughing in diners and gas stations. Us falling asleep in the van under heavy quilts. Us hugging people who said things like, "You saved me." It wasn't glossy. It wasn't filtered. It was real. And it went viral. Again. Overnight, millions of views poured in. But this time the buzz felt different. More grounded. Less sparkle, more soul. Emails came in, not from agents, but from libraries, schools, community centers. They didn't want content. They wanted connection. So we kept going. Not for followers. For them. For us. The final shot in the documentary, the one Tyler said he saved for last, the one that made even Lorraine cry, was taken on a quiet Tuesday, somewhere in New Mexico. We were driving along Route 66, both wearing sunglasses too big for our faces, singing Truth Hurts at the top of our lungs, laughing so hard I swerved slightly into the shoulder. The desert wind whipped through the cracked windows. Our hair was a mess. My lipstick had faded. Lorraine's mascara was halfway down her cheek. We looked like hell. But we looked happy. That's the shot people remembered. Not the polished clips. Not the hashtags. Not the awards or features or TikTok trends. That. Two women who had lived full lives, lost so much, given even more, and still had the guts to throw on some Lizzo, hit the gas, and believe there was joy waiting around the next bend. So if you're reading this, if you're watching from wherever you are, I'll leave you with this. We are not the exceptions. We are not magic. We are not saints. We are just two old broads who refuse to believe that life stopped being beautiful after 70. We still dance. Not every day. Not every week. But when the spirit hits, when the world feels too heavy, when the ache in the bones is nothing compared to the ache in the heart, we dance. We may not go viral again. We don't need to. Because we already found what we were chasing all along. Each other. Ourselves. And the truth that it's never ever too late to come alive. Now if you'll excuse me, Lorraine just blasted juice in the kitchen. And I've got a few moves left in me yet.